hopefully you're all here for the same reason that we are, in that we want to talk to you about our primary project that we've got running. We're currently delivering it in Plymouth, but Tony will go into a little bit more detail about everything later on, I'm sure. But this is to kind of expand it into Devon and Torbay primary schools. So hopefully we're all here for the right reasons. But just to say, I'm Jo Skeel and I'm the strategic lead for the Devon, Plymouth and Torbay Careers Hub. And currently we kind of work with schools and colleges, secondary schools and colleges across the patch to help them with their careers provision and careers education. And that's what we kind of want to talk to you today about, careers into primary schools. So Tony, do you want to just introduce yourself before we get going, and then we'll set the slides going?
I will do. My name's Tony. I am part of the Careers Hub. One of the things I'm doing at the moment is I'm leading on this project, which is already happening in Plymouth. So we started this project back in September with some Plymouth schools. So I've kind of already halfway through doing it with a group of other schools. And now it's great news that we can expand it out to the rest of Devon and Torbay. I'm enterprise coordinator as well, which means I also work with a group of secondary schools, which Jo's just mentioned, and a few other things as well. But I'm based in sunny North Devon, which doesn't look like this quite at the moment, but can do sometimes, but work across the whole of Devon.
Amazing. Thanks, Tony. Good stuff. So if we set the slides going, I'll just give you a little bit of background around, you know, who we are as a careers hub and where this funding has kind of come from. So we are, as a careers hub, we're funded by a company called the Careers and Enterprise Company, who are funded through the Department of Education. Funding's always complicated, isn't it? But the Careers and Enterprise Company are the national body for careers education in England. And we support schools to deliver modern 21st century careers education. So essentially we work to something called the Gatsby benchmarks. There are 8 of them. And if every secondary school adheres to the benchmarks and all of the kind of to-do lists, if you like, and all of the lists below the benchmarks, then they should be achieving, you know, really great careers education for their school and for their young people. So the mission of the Careers and Enterprise Company is to help every young person find their best next step. And like I say, we do that through careers hubs. So we are the Devon, Plymouth and Torbay Careers Hub. There's 50 careers hubs right the way across the country nationally. And we help secondary schools at the moment to, like I say, work towards these benchmarks and have a really great careers programme for their young people. We do a lot of it by working with employers and bringing employers and different encounters and experiences into schools and ensuring, you know, that they're as delivering as many employer encounters as possible for those young people. So like I say, our kind of aim for this programme really is to give you a little bit of advice and help and guidance around careers with your young people within primary schools. Okay, so if we just move on, Tony. So again, a little bit of background about where the funds kind of come from, really. So Tony's kind of mentioned this already, but it started back in 2022 and it will continue on into the spring 2025, and it's a 2.6 million backed programme from the Department of Education. So it's, you know, it's fairly sizable, and they're really keen to kind of, you know, get this going and get primary schools in particular to really think about how you can embed careers into your curriculums and how you can start talking to young people, you know, to children from a really young age. So it'll last two and a half years. And the idea is that every teacher, and Tony will go into this in more detail, but every teacher will get some support and training to deliver a careers related learning at primary level. So the programme aims to support 2,250 primary schools, and originally they were set to the education investment areas. So for us, that was Plymouth. So the programme started in Plymouth, like Tony said a little while ago, but we've been really lucky in that because of the success in Plymouth and the fantastic work that Tony's done, we've been offered a rollout into Devon and Torbay as well. So that's really, really exciting. We're really chuffed that we've been offered this extension, that we can roll it out and offer it to you guys in Devon and Torbay. Okay, so just to really quickly touch on this Teach First will deliver the training. So the training that you would undertake as part of this programme will be delivered by Teach First. And then we've partnered with the Careers and Enterprise Company have partnered with an organisation called Impact Ed, who are going to measure the impact and evaluate the programme to see what successes it's had, so that we can learn from that moving forward. But I think that's pretty much it from me. I'm going to hand it over to Tony, because she is the absolute expert in all of this and will be able to tell you far more than I can. So I'll pass you over to Tony.
Thanks, Jo. We've actually got a short video for you now, which is from our Chief Exec of the Careers and Enterprise Company, who's called Ollie, and he's just going to give you a brief overview of the programme, and then I'll basically give you more details afterwards. If you can't hear it, someone shout at me quickly and I'll try and figure it out, but hopefully I have shared the sound.
Hello, my name is Ollie de Botton and I'm the Chief Executive of the Careers and Enterprise Company. I want to welcome you all to our primary careers education pilot. Start small, dream big. This is incredibly important work, because we know young people form ambitions about their future careers from an early age. And yet these ambitions can sometimes be blunted by limiting stereotypes. This pilot careers education programme will connect primary age children in disadvantaged communities with the world of work in meaningful and exciting ways, overcoming those barriers and raising aspirations. Hundreds of schools have already signed up, and I want to thank you for joining us on this journey. What this programme does is it helps connect children in classrooms to role models from the world of work. It also helps teachers connect curriculum material to local industries, both of which have a real impact on the aspirations of young people. Having a trained teacher in a school who can support this work is absolutely critical. And that's why we've partnered with our training provider, Teach First, who will help build expertise and skills amongst those teachers. And it's why we're making sure the programme is connected to our local careers hubs to plan those all-important employer encounters. I'm thrilled that you're joining our careers community. I know that together we can help make sure that every young person is inspired about their future and ready to take on the world.
Oh, hang on, starting again. There you go. There you go. Hopefully that was a bit of a helpful overview of the programme. I think that's actually quite a nice video. It gives you a taste of what the programme's about. So what I'm going to do now is go through a few more slides to explain the programme in a bit more detail. We'll have plenty of time for questions at the end, but if you do have a question that comes up, Jo, if you wouldn't mind monitoring the chat, because I can't see it while I'm in presentation mode, so to speak.
No problem.
But yeah, do feel free. Obviously there's not many of us, so we can be interrupted for questions. It's not going to be a problem. So in the video you saw there was some talk about the research that comes behind it. I'll send out copies of these slides to you afterwards, so you can click on the link and see the actual research that they're talking about, if that's of interest to you. But it's really interesting that we've seen that children can fix their aspirations and have future limiting stereotypical ideas by the age of 6, which seems really young, doesn't it? But I don't know if that's what you're seeing in your classrooms. But yeah, it seems that children are getting ideas about what are girls' jobs and what are boys' jobs still at a really young age. So we really want to try and challenge that. There's also evidence to show that careers-related learning can really help widen those aspirations, which is what we want for a lot of our young people, to really think bigger than they may think at the moment in terms of what their futures can look like. We've talked a bit about the benefits of the programme in the video, but I'll just pick out a couple of them now. It's about removing barriers and stereotypes. It's about also helping children to understand about the world of work of the future, the jobs that those young people might be doing when they leave school, college, university, or however far they go in education may not even exist yet. So that's part of the work we're doing, is to prepare them for what their future might look like. And that age-old thing about helping children understand the link between what they do in school and how that links to the world of work. I know that's been a question that people were asking when I was at school. I imagine they're still asking now, that whole question about why are we doing this? What's the point? So it will help with that as well. Some benefits of joining the programme we've already talked about. You will get free support from your local Careers Hub network. That will mostly be from me, but hopefully that will be good support. We've got this free training. As you know, CPD normally costs money. At the time, this primary CPD is free to you. It has been paid for by someone else, so it'd be great to take advantage of that while it is free. We don't know what that will look like in the future, and we're also going to give you access to resources and support. I'm not going to go through the second part of this slide because I'm going to explain it in more detail as we go on, so it will make more sense if we wait. So digging a bit deeper to what this actual CPD looks like. We need one lead teacher per school taking part, who does need to be a member of teaching staff. It cannot be support staff, unfortunately. If you're in a federation or a partnership of a number of very small schools, there is some scope for having one lead teacher to work across a few schools. That will be by individual discussion of each case. But if that's you, then please do talk to us about that, because we understand that if you're a school which has 2 teachers and working with another school which has 2 teachers, it might not be feasible for a teacher from each school to be able to complete the CPD. This is an overview of what the CPD will look like. It's broken down into 6 modules. It's 2 modules per term. The modules are self-paced, so you just go on to the Teach First platform and complete them in the time that suits you. There's a lot of videos, there's a few exercises to do, there's reading, there's a few kind of surveys that it will ask you to do as well, but you can do that at a time that suits you. And on this slide, it does give you a rough estimation of how many hours each of those modules will take. There are 3 live seminars throughout the year. They are going to be recorded, but it is much better if live teachers can attend them in person. But as I've learned, and as I'm sure you're aware, trying to get a day after school where no one's got a meeting or a club or a parents' evening or something is really difficult. So we do understand if you cannot attend, there will be a recording available, but you'll certainly get more out of the process if you're able to attend the seminar in person. The rough hours commitment, which is what everybody is going to ask, is it's said to be approximately 30 hours of module study throughout the academic year, and about 4.5 hours of live seminars. On top of that, I do some optional meetings to just get all of the teachers in the patch together, to really just, that's more of a kind of a support chat, networking. How's it going? How can I support you? Sharing ideas, that kind of thing. It's definitely optional, but it can be really helpful. I actually held one of those last night for my Plymouth teachers who are now at the point where they're about to start setting up their employer encounters. So I had a couple of providers come along who will help get volunteers into your schools for you. So it was hopefully very helpful for them. One of the areas where us as a Career Hub will really step up and help you is to get those connections with local employers. As a Careers Hub, we're already working with employers all across Devon, Torbay and Plymouth, and we are able to use those links to help you find the right people to come into your schools, and also just provide suggestions about using networks you already have through your parents, through any contractors you have in, also through like any links with local governors or any school trips you're already going on, how we can utilize them to talk about careers in those as well. So we're really here to support, to give ideas, to make things as easy as possible. I think that's how I see my job in this, is to basically make this as seamless as it can be, support you along the way. If there's anywhere where I can save you time, I will do that. One of the things I did for Plymouth is put together some information about the local labour market in Plymouth, so that all of the teachers had that and they didn't have to research for it themselves. And I can certainly do that for the rest of Devon and Torbay. Okay, this is what your lead teacher will experience throughout the project. As we mentioned before, this is a pilot and therefore it needs to be evaluated. So there is a baseline evaluation which will be completed at the start and the end of the project. What that looks like is there will be an online link to a questionnaire for the lead teacher to complete and another member of SLT to complete, and they will do that at the start of the programme and the very end. There's also, we ask all year 5 and 6 pupils to complete a very short online questionnaire. Basically, you get given a web link and we can ask those pupils to complete that. And again, that will be done again at the end of the programme, so we can see distance travelled. And after that's completed, your teacher will start the CPD, and that will include an overview of what kind of careers related learning you have going on in your school at the moment, if any. And then the lead teacher is asked to identify just 1 to maximum of 4 strategic objectives for careers related learning in your school. So what do you want careers related learning to look like in your school? And there's support all the way along for this, so don't feel like you're never going to be left on your own. We're here to support, trying to identify what might be right for you. There's 4 key themes that run throughout the programme, and they'll already be sounding familiar. The key themes are reducing bias and challenging stereotypes, linking careers to the curriculum, increasing meaningful encounters with employers, and trying to engage parents and carers. So it could be that you just, for your school, you just want to pick 1 strategic objective, which is let's challenge the stereotypical ideas that our students have about the jobs that might suit them in the future. So that could be one of your strategic objectives, and then you could make a plan as to different ways that you might want to try and tackle that. Also, as part of the programme, the lead teacher will be asked to plan a short, unassessed project, which can kind of try out your objectives, try out what you want to achieve in your school. And that will include at least 1 employer encounter. Now, by the end of the year, and this is a whole year's time, so it doesn't have to be done quickly, the idea is that the lead teacher will come out with a plan for the whole school about how your school in the next few years can start embedding careers learning across each of the key stages. Now, all of the CPD and all of the seminars are supporting you to do this. You're not going to be left on your own. It's a process. It doesn't have to be done all at once, and it's kind of learning. So by the end of it, it's about figuring out what you want your students to achieve, and we'll help you put stuff in place to work out how we're going to do that. Hopefully that makes sense. I've tried to make that as clear as possible, but please do come back with more questions because I've just showed you a lot of information. So benefits of training for teachers. Yeah, it's CPD, it's good for progressing, it's good for people who really want to maybe take on a bit more responsibility. We will support you. It'd be great to have at least 1 member of your team who just feels a little bit more confident about the value and how to make careers related learning something which is embedded across your school, and also knows more about the local labour market. And it might be that as a primary school teacher, you're not entirely familiar with the different routes that young people can take once they reach the end of year 11. So it might be that we can help you learn a little bit more and feel a bit more confident about that as well. Again, I'm not going to go into all of that because it's a bit too much information. Oh, gone back 1. The impact will be measured by, as Jo mentioned earlier, there's an organisation called Impact Ed. Basically what they do is they evaluate programmes. So they're the ones that are going to be in charge of doing that. All that will look like for most of you is just filling in that survey at the start and the end of the programme and asking your year 5 and 6 students to complete a survey at the start, at the end of the programme. The only issue with that is that you won't know your individual school's data from doing it that way. If you're particularly keen to see how this program is affecting your specific students, there is a way that you can become a research school, which means that you'll have a little bit more evaluation to do. But the benefits of that is that you'll really see how the program has affected your students in particular. So if anyone is particularly interested in that, please let me know. The only additional work there will be there's a bit of focus group work, a bit of interview with the lead teacher and the SLT, and each of the students will have to complete an individual survey rather than just have one link for everyone. But yeah, if that sounds interesting to you, please just let me know and I'll explain it in a little bit more detail. So that was a very quick overview, and we'll certainly have time for questions in a minute. But if that sounds like something that you want to be involved in, this is what happens next. You should hopefully have had an email from me already with a memorandum of understanding on it, which we will need signed and completed. I will email all of you tomorrow with the slides and another copy of the MOU just in case it's lost in a pile of emails somewhere. The sooner we get that one back, the better. We can definitely secure your place as soon as we've got that. But we really do need it before the end of February. We will need a lead teacher nominated. I will need their email address. It's very important that that's written down correctly because it causes all sorts of issues when there's a missing dot and things like that. And then that's basically all you need to do. As soon as that form is signed and I've got it, then I will basically do the rest of the work. Then you will be given a sign in, a login even to the Teach First platform. The program doesn't officially start until April, so you might not have that for a little while, but once you're signed up, your place is secure and I will keep in contact with you. Once the program has started, I'll be in regular contact. We have those regular catch-ups, which I mentioned online. I'll send you labour market information and any other resources that I have, which I think will help you, will particularly help you when it comes to setting up your employer contacts. I've got newsletters that go out just to remind you where things are at, have gentle reminders about what needs to happen when, and always here to support. If there's any questions about anything at all, I'm always on the end of the email and we'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. The teachers that are doing it at the moment are really getting into it now. I met with them last night and they're really thinking about what kind of employers they want to get in front of their students. A lot of them are really interested in showing diversity. I know we're in Devon, which is not always the most diverse place in the country. So actually using employer encounters to really challenge some ideas about what is possible is really helpful for these students. I'm going to stop sharing so we can all see each other again. And